Hi, my name is Tori, Victoria online. I feel like I'm in an AA meeting, and I lost my period for 5 years. If you're clicking on this video, either you or somebody you know and love probably has gone through the same thing or is going through the same thing. I'm going to do my best in this video to provide A, value, of course, but B, provide a different POV because I feel like all the videos I've seen have been pretty much regurgitated content. And I just feel like I've had a very unique experience that has brought me full circle. And I haven't seen very many people talk about it. It is very important that you know this information and it's not talked about enough. And I personally wish I and my loved ones would have known how to help me. And just about this, menstruation and the conversation around it is oddly enough still in 2025 super taboo. If you like this content though, please like it. Subscribe. I have full comprehensive guides on how it happened and stuff like that. I can link above. This is going to be kind of a synopsis and a quick path to how I feel like A, I got it and developed it, and B, how I got it back. And then also if you're watching, how you can support somebody you know and love to get their cycle back. Let's get into today's video. So flashback 5 years ago. How old was I? 26? Girl. 26. Freshly into a relationship, probably struggling with a bit of body image under the surface, but wasn't really aware of it. I'd always had a pretty healthy body image. Also, just so you know, I was diagnosed with hypothalamic amenorrhea, which is the loss of menstruation for various reasons, but typically it's undereating, overexercising, and general chronic stress on your body, which I will go into. At that time, got an IUD, was on birth control for a little bit before that. Everything is good. Everything is great for the most part. Developed COVID and mono back to back. I drank after this girl in LA, and I think she was a little bit promiscuous girl. No shame, no hate. Just didn't know about it, and it's kind of ironic now because she had sent me money after I left and was like, here's a coffee and here's for this and that when she found out I was sick. And I think it was just guilt payments, which, hey, I'll take your money, girl. Anyway, during the mono COVID phase, I lost a substantial amount of weight. Was not planned, was not intentional at all. In fact, back whenever I was trying to get signed to modeling agencies, I'd be told by modeling agencies, you would make a great model. Just start walking 30 minutes a day in addition to your weightlifting and we'll sign you. And I was like,
sorry, I'm not going to change my body.
I was that girl. I'm really proud of who I used to be for the fact that I didn't change myself at all. But I digress. Lost a bunch of weight. Didn't realize I could do it at that time. I didn't realize that people were really out here dieting and over-exercising and overexerting themselves. I was just truly at peace with my body for the most part and at a homeostasis. I guess at that point, unintentionally, I had body neutrality, which if you don't know, it's like the non-judgment of your body. Realizing your body goes through fluctuations in your life. You're not really tying your self-worth or identity to anything external for the most part, right? So I had a great body image. And then I lost the weight and I liked it. I liked how I felt. I liked how I looked. Now I'm getting booked for jobs because I was in the modeling sphere, which, girl, we could do story times on that. I would not wish it on my worst enemy, but it's also brought me a lot of cool opportunity. Miami Swim Week. It was great. It was fun. I really had an identity crisis at this point in my life because I never thought I was capable of doing all these things that I really wanted to do. And I was like, now what? And also, I like the way I look, but it was messing with my mind. Have you ever dealt with any significant weight loss of any sort, which when you're a 120, 130 pound girl and you lose even 5, 10 pounds, that can be substantial for somebody on a smaller build, right? So for me, my body didn't know what to do. I was going through a lot of change. And at that point, I realized, well, I didn't realize until the last year, 2 years, that a lot of things when it comes to body image and stuff are more centered around you trying to control your image and trying to control things externally outside of your body that you feel like you don't have a grasp on. And that was very much the case in my life. This is why I feel like it is so important to listen to this as a person. The content you're going to see, probably even on this video, if there's an ad, it's probably going to be a GLP-1 ad. Weight loss is so normalized. I'm not a registered dietitian. I'm going to save my 2 cents of all of that. But I'm just saying in an age of GLP-1s that you can literally get at a U-Haul, they're like wheeling and dealing at a U-Haul. Not really, but probably somewhere in the US. I think it's really important to share my story of weight loss and how it caused me to lose my cycle and how detached and disassociated I was for the last 5 years because of it. So flash forward, kind of having an identity crisis, and I latch on to what I would describe as an ED as a way of controlling my body. And this was my life for the last 4 years. I literally felt like I was in a hamster wheel of I know how to get these results. Let me just keep doing it. And the thing, since my weight loss was not sustainable, because at some point your body fights against that, and boy, does it, for the good. I will say for the good. Thank God my body fought against it. It was not healthy for me. But I will say it has been so rough. The amount of disconnection I have felt with myself, because when you're so food focused, when you have food noise constantly, you're literally foraging for berries in your spare time as a hobby because you're literally starving. It's not very fun. It's not very cute, and you don't have a good personality. You are not a fun person or a bright light to be around. I guarantee it. And it was weird because before that, I really didn't notice what other people were doing with their body, with their food, with their life. And the more hyper fixated I was on controlling that within myself, I was also externally judging and projecting onto other people. First of all, I couldn't go out in public and eat. It was so uncomfortable for me. How embarrassing. I was shaking over like having a piece of toast. My story is not unique. If you look up anything, or if you're not new to this space more so, you'll know. You see girls all the time on TikTok posting videos of them eating a rice cake, freaking out. Girl, I get you. I have older videos of me going in and challenging fear foods and like shaking over a bagel, which, you know, I get it kind of, but it's like, it's just not that deep. And I mean, it is and it isn't, right? The reasons for why psychologically people develop this type of stuff, it's definitely based in control from my understanding. But the more that you do it and the more you get comfortable with challenging things, the more you realize it's going to be all right. So that's kind of how I got there. Flash forward, I discovered that I have hypothalamic amenorrhea. Right? I go to a doctor, I go to an OBGYN. This lady was mean, guys. Literally was like,
You need to gain 20, 30 pounds. If you don't, you're an idiot. And I don't know why you're coming to see me.
essentially, I'm being a little bit dramatic, but that is actually what she said. I left there crying and I felt very hopeless. So then I started to delve into the online space, as probably some of you have. And that can be a problem because it can almost become a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? Where you're looking externally. Because baseline of what the issue is with this, from my understanding or my experience, is that I was looking externally for something that nobody else could provide for me. I needed internal validation and to listen to my intuition, which was something I just felt entirely detached from. And hormones and hormone health go hand in hand with that. It's almost a self-fulfilling prophecy where the more disconnected you feel with yourself, the more you look externally for clues and cues. And then it feels like you're in quicksand. It feels like you're constantly sinking. I constantly felt like I was in a state of PMSing without a period. Constant mood swings, constant anxiety, constant fatigue, constant restlessness, no libido, constant acne. For what? For who? For why? You think you have control, but you really don't. It's scary that online right now, even more so, the skinniness of it, the skinny talk. Oh, I just say it like that, skin talk. Michael Myers. Anyway, I start looking externally. I would use what I eat in a day as a way to validate or excuse what I did that day. And there was a point in my whole recovery period, which my timeline is a bit blurred at this point. Sorry, guys. Just stay with me. It's going to get somewhere. I promise. So 3 years ago, I did what is called all-in recovery, right? This was after the OBGYN was like, girl,
I don't know why you're still trying to be a model. I don't know why you're coming to me unless you're actively eating donuts and sitting on your butt. You are wasting my time and your money, so get the out of here.
Her words, not mine, not really. So I'm like, I'm seeing all this stuff, convoluted information about what to do. And that's because at the end of the day, you have to learn to listen to yourself. Why is it scary to listen to myself? Why is it scary to have my own back? Why is it that I feel like I need to look externally for when to eat, what to eat, where to eat?
What's that? Who to eat?
This is really turning into a monster mash going into all-in recovery. I had made multiple videos about how I was going to gain weight. Boy, did I gained probably around 20 pounds in 2 months, 3 months, because I did this thing called all-in recovery. It's where you literally minimum calories, 2,500 calories, little to no exercise, and you're pretty much supposed to not restrict at all and give in to your hunger. And mental hunger for a lot of these people that practice all-in recovery is still physical hunger. And that's still something to this day I struggle with, but I've gotten better at. Packed on the pound, really wasn't working out much. Honestly, my body image went to complete shit just because I had tied so much of my identity. You scroll through my TikTok, you scroll through my Instagram, you scroll through this YouTube channel, you're going to see your girl likes to show off. I find a lot of self-worth in my body. I was trying to think of an unrealistic way to put that, but that's the honest truth. I really struggle and still do Gotta be real. In this society, I struggle with tying my self-worth to how I look and how I feel. It's a fine line, right? I like to keep promises to myself. I'm a very active person. I now run and have ran so many races over the last year in particular. Go into all-in recovery, did 6 months of that, did not get my period, got on hormones. Hormones were good, I guess, because I just felt so detached from myself that I felt like, girl, my estrogen was so low that I was like, I need to be on something, right? Because I'm like, my bones, are they breaking? I don't know. My hair, crap. My skin, crap. At that point, I was dating on the dating market. I'm no longer am. Sorry, boys. Sorry. What about it? But at that point, I was actively out. I was out and I wanted to be out and I needed to. How the heck am I supposed to hunt for a man if I don't know left from right with my own body, right? I did a few months of that. During that time, I had, it sounds gross, bleeds. I had fake periods, which if you aren't familiar, a lot of people do HRT, hormone replacement therapy, to emulate a natural cycle. It's a Band-Aid, essentially, but I was willing to slap a Band-Aid. Have you seen that one meme that's the water coming out of the fountain and they're slapping a Band-Aid? That was me with HRT, okay? I was like, let me just get on something. Let me see if that can subsidize my issues for the time being. Because, girl, the 20-pound pack on was affecting my self-worth. And y'all are some freaks. The comments I was getting during that period of my life was terrifying, to say the best. There were feeders actively in my DMs, which if you don't know what a feeder is, it's like a person that loves to make another person larger. I felt very weird and I felt very
Insecure.
Another side quest, extreme hunger. Let's talk about it really quick. Boy, was she there. She was present. I was eating a loaf of bread a night, a vat of peanut butter. I think I had done taste test videos for this company called American Dream Nut Butter. Girl, they sent me cases and I'm not even playing. In 2 weeks, I was done with them. That was around the time that I ran the Chicago Marathon. And I think that that's also why I continued running, is because I was just, my glycogen cells, my glycogen storaging, they were stored. We were stored up. I'm telling you that much. Between the cereal, the bread, and the peanut butter, it was a crazy time. Honestly, it's a bit triggering. I'm not even going to lie. It was crazy. So anyway, I went through a whole phase. I would say this is where it gets a little convoluted because some people would be like, well, did you develop BED, which is the opposite of what originally I started with. You can do your own research. I don't even like talking about it because it is triggering. This is my take. Take what you want. I'm going to throw it on the table. You can pick up whatever you want, close your eyes, spin it around, whatever you want to do with this information. Personally, I feel like I needed to go through all of these phases in order to find a sense of homeostasis within myself, a sense of balance, because I was lacking it so much. And it's almost like whenever you don't know what kind of car you want to drive in the end, you go and you try out an SUV, a sedan, a truck, for instance. I don't know. I was really just throwing shit at a wall and hoping something would stick because I was desperate to get back to myself. I would recommend bypassing both phases if possible. If you're watching this and you aren't struggling, please don't try to lose that last 3 pounds. I think for a lot of people, they get so focused on that. I'm telling you, ask anybody that's lost any substantial amount of weight. That 3 pounds is going to be the means to no end for a lot of people, especially if you're using that to feel a sense of self-worth or a sense of control. Both sides were crazy. Let's figure out how to feel safe in our body, right? This is another thing that I think a lot of us struggle with is emotional regulation, which is a new concept for me. I didn't really get taught that growing up. I grew up in a religious cult, so they really slapped on the Band-Aid of delusion in a lot of ways, and the gray areas of life were just unheard of. I didn't know how to sit with unknowns, and anytime there was an unknown, I was triggered, which led me to cope in various different ways. My coping styles changed throughout the years, but one that kind of surfaced was this. There was a period of my life where I was consuming so much ED recovery content, I would wake up and fall asleep to it, just looking for constant reassurance that I was on the right path because I didn't know. I was in a corn maze. And I didn't have a map, and they had blindfolded me and spun me around, and I didn't know left from right in my own body. Let me make sure the sound is good. Flash forward to around a year ago, I hovered. What am I saying? I hovered. I was outside my body, girl, and had hired a recovery coach. It's been a little over a year of that, a year and a half. But here's the synopsis of how that went. Having stable people in your life, whether that be, I started running as well, a support group of some sort. You need support. I think in our hyper-independent society, I think we know it deep down, but I think sometimes, and especially as women that are high functioning, high achieving, goal oriented women, you're going to have a tendency to burn yourself out, to disassociate, and to always compare yourself in order to push yourself further. If you're anything like me, I know I have potential in life and I don't want to waste that at all. And it actually scares me to be complacent in my life because I want to achieve greatness. Sounds stupid, but I mean it. I know I'm meant for something so much bigger. Even currently, God forbid, I'm the one that stands in my own way because I was so busy on this hamster wheel of get in 20,000 steps, work out 24/7, eat high protein, no carbs, no fats, no anything. And then the opposite of that, honor everything and only watch ED type content and all of this stuff to where I was so detached from myself. How the heck am I going to know what way to drive my life? Because your life is like a car. It's going to go where you direct it. So I was constantly being like this. Running has changed the game for me because it's also made me realize I am going to be weak if I don't eat enough. I'm not going to be able to run as fast, as long, as happily. And honestly, it's an example of life, right? You think you're doing good until you're not, when you realize you can't edit because you're thinking about food. You can't go run errands. You're thinking about food. Asking yourself, why haven't I had a period? That was something my recovery coach taught me is your body actually knows a lot of this if you sit alone with yourself. And God, it really took me spending 4 or 5 years to really get back to myself. It's brought me such a stronger sense of self. I appreciate it now more.
I have ADHD.
Ask yourself, why do you think you lost your period? Truthfully, if you've already done all these other things, if you're looking externally for validation, a lot of it comes down to feeling safe in your own body. And that can be for various reasons for why you're feeling unsafe. But you have to get to a point where you have your own back over external pressures like your body image, partner, job pressure, exercise, food as a way of reward or restriction. And sometimes you need support. A lot of times we need support, and I don't want to underestimate that in this process. So number 1, I got a recovery coach. Number 2, I have a healthy, loving relationship. Really has helped. I took on running. Running has been so beneficial because of the fact that it's given me a sense of community, and also it has allowed me to understand that, hey, your body is actually a thing that functions and functions better if you feed it. Who would have known? Rocket science. I learned to rest, and that's been really hard for me. Rest has probably been the hardest component, honestly, of all of this. Again, going back to my other point of not wanting to stand in my own way of success. But something I'm learning is that you don't have to constantly be pushing yourself, and sometimes less truly is more. And I feel like I'm still learning that. Exhibit A, potentially maybe not getting a 6 recovery cycle or it not being on time because I pushed myself too hard because I didn't want to stand in my own way. That's where I'm at right now. And I think that that's maybe going to be a hang up in the future or present that I'm trying to work through. But I just don't want to flop in life. I really don't. I want to help people. I want to help myself. I want to achieve greatness. I want to achieve everything that I want to achieve in my life. And even if those things change, which they have, I know that the rest of my life I will change once. I want all of the things that I want, and I know I'm capable of getting them, and I never want to be the one that stands in my own way of that catalyst. So anyway, I've learned to listen to myself. One of the key things right before I got my first recovery cycle was I was running a half marathon, and I started walking it because I was like, I felt exhausted, and I kept telling myself, hey, you're safe. I'm going to listen to you. I don't care if I PR. I don't care if I walk the entire thing. If I'm too weak, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to be here, and I'm going to be here now with myself. Trying to keep yourself almost like whenever a dog goes into the doctor and the doctor's like, he needs to cut some pounds, and then you're regulating. You got 5 dog biscuits today. You can't have another one tomorrow. That was my relationship to myself and my relationship to food. And just realizing now that I've had a few recovery cycles and realizing that everything is completely normal and that the days that you're extra hungry, which before I would have been not even batted an eye, but I started to become fixated on controlling that. And now realizing, hey, in your cycle, you might get a little hungry, you might crave this or you might crave that. Or even on the days where you have a little extra stress, I have a lot more grace with myself now than I ever did before because I realized now I've been through all the phases. And even on the days where I feel like I maybe have overdone it, whether that be overdone it with exercise or overdone it with food, I just reassure myself because I've seen myself at all of the phases of restriction and overdoing it that I'm going to find a balance. I think that's the biggest thing for me was just allowing myself to go through all the phases of what recovery looked like to me in order to get to some sort of homeostasis. and not giving myself pressure of a timeline. And I think that's great for literally everything in life, is just trusting that you have so much time. I hope that helps. I think the main things for me to summarize: never underestimate the sense of community you might need, sense of support. Stop looking externally if possible. Learn to try to tune inward. Don't compensate or have compensating behaviors for whatever thing you're doing, whether it be restriction or whatever. Just resume the next day, whatever the previous day or previous hour didn't happen. Pause, emotionally regulate. Video journaling was a great thing for me. It was, I feel triggered. I want to do X, Y, and Z thing. I want to make myself smaller right now. Or the opposite. Talk about that to yourself. Get a therapist. I have an amazing therapist. And there's no shame in going through these phases. But ultimately, I think the end goal is to figure out what is the balance for you. And don't jerk back and forth, because that just, I feel like it does more harm than good. Obviously, depending on your diagnosis, it's going to be a different protocol. But this is my POV of what's helped me. Those are my best tips. Just reassuring yourself that you're going to do whatever it takes to get it back and honoring that truth. Phase 2, if you're a partner watching this, you're wondering, how can I assist? How can I help? How can I be of a help? It affects your relationships too. Your partner's probably depressed, anxious, hangry, potentially moody, exhausted, feeling unattractive. And that's hard because you don't want to overstep either. You don't want to be this sense of stability, because then that can lead into some problematic behavior, an unhealthy dynamic. But what I will say is there's going to be times when I was, even now. Oh, another thing, if you're a girl watching this, wake up, eat breakfast first thing in the morning. Best tip I could say, best tip, add some nuts in there. Every morning, I look forward to my yogurt bowls. I've had a yogurt bowl, I think, every morning for over a year. I don't know if that's okay. I can't imagine it not being. I think there's far worse things you could do. But my yogurt bowls have saved my life. I wake up craving them. There was a time in my life where I'd wake up not hungry. For me personally, that's not normal. Whenever I had a healthier relationship to myself, my body image, whatever, I would wake up hungry every day. Breakfast is so important to me. So wake up, have that breakfast. Very important. At that point, if I didn't sleep well, because there's going to be a phase maybe where you don't sleep the best, go back to bed. If you have the luxury of going back to bed, I would wake up at 4 or 5 in the morning, have my yogurt bowl, go back to bed, wake up at 7 a.m., whatever. And still, occasionally I will do that. I'll notice if I haven't done well enough that week. And again, it's not even about judgment. It's just like some days I'm more hungry or I haven't done as good of a job. I make sure to reestablish that sense of connection within myself and just honor those cravings. And sometimes that's going to be waking up at night or going to bed and then waking up in the morning and being hungry or whatever. If you're a partner of somebody that's going through some sort of ED recovery, encourage that, support it, be there for them, and don't hold judgment. It can be a little bit embarrassing going to the cabinets at 6 in the morning if you have a partner that's not hungry until 10 or has a normal relationship with everything and hasn't been through the cyclops of events that you have. It really feels like you have PTSD. And I'm sure from the outside looking in, it's probably a little weird seeing your partner foraging for berries at 3 in the morning, but encourage that, support them, reassure them, support them, tell them you're attracted to them still. That's a real concern and a scary thing. Is my partner going to find me attractive? Whatever. Just reassurance, and also encouraging them to seek reassurance and help outside the relationship is going to be of detriment. And one thing that's really helped me is my friends, family, my partner telling me, hey, you've overdone it on exercise the last few days. How about you just lay low for an hour or two? It's those simple little things that allow me to be like, you know what? Yeah. And also, oddly enough, getting a smart device has really been reassuring to me because it tells me, hey, your body has overexerted itself for 6 days. How about we sleep a little bit more? Or how about today you just have an active rest day or whatever? Because before I would have a tendency, I would be like, I'm looking and comparing myself to Olympic athletes all the time. And which is so crazy. I'm going to be an Olympian next year. So I need to have an Olympian type schedule. And so I'm going to get up at 6 in the morning, go for my run club, going to go for another run this time, going to lift weights, going to whatever. Girl, Rome literally wasn't built in a day. And if it was, it would be literally falling down, which it is. So was it built in a day? Anyway, all that to say, having a smart device has actually been, oddly enough, am I in a codependent relationship with my smart device? Because it's been, oddly enough, very validating, reassuring of me and my needs. So maybe that's something you could do or suggest. All that to say, it really does take a village. I think the best thing in order to support your partner is to hear them out, listen to them, do your own research, validate them, don't hold judgment as much as possible. And that might might require you to do a little inner work too, because I think also a lot of times if you're judging your partner, there might be some internalized fat phobia. There's a lot of different things for why we feel and think the ways that we do that maybe we also need to do work on. Because those judgments that we hold towards others, we hold towards ourselves, whether we realize it or not. And this isn't therapy. But anyway, those are my best suggestions for how to get your period back if you're struggling, how to better support yourself, and if you're a partner or know someone that is struggling with menstruation problems, how to support them in getting their cycle back. Because if you didn't know, for women, menstruation is one of the 5 vital signs that a woman is healthy. So if you aren't having a cycle, although it sounds nice to not bleed, it's not good for you. And it can lead to a lot of chronic issues down the road. So please take care of yourself. If you have any questions or concerns or anything else, I am available. You can DM me or comment down below. If you haven't already, please subscribe. It really does help the channel grow. And I will see you in my next video. Bye.